people that have been assigned special responsibilities, special duties. That is as far as calling goes. It is not the approval to start work. It is only an awareness of the fact that God has a mandate, a special mandate for your life. It is
not the approval
to start work, because there is the calling and there is the sending. There is a bridge between being called and being sent, and that bridge is being chosen. Being chosen, you must come to a place where you are chosen. Many are called, few are chosen. So you prove your readiness for the calling, before you are sent. So we must come to the consciousness that calling is just an awareness that there's a mandate upon my life.
Calling is just an awareness. It's not the approval to go and start to work. Because the way young people are readily plunge into ministry these days, they don't even wait for God to even dial their number. They call God, themselves. So when a man comes into that awareness, what must he do? What must he start to do?
Thank you very much, sir. If you are eager to do ministry, I doubt your call. I'm sorry. I really doubt your call. Because if you understand the weightiness of ministry, you will run. So if you have this eagerness to just jump into it and start it the moment you are aware there's a mandate, then there is something wrong somewhere. Calling, like I said, builds the awareness and then mandates the need to be mentored. The reason why it is such that we have a lot of field ministries is that the people that started those ministries were truly called, but were not proven by mentorship, by leadership, by being subjected to followership, in the regard of ministry. You can be a follower as a church member, you can be a follower as a church worker. It's not the same experience with being a follower as a called person. So that's the time for you to subject yourself to, I worked, for example, I worked under a pastor for 15 years. 15 straight years. And when God told me it was time to start Grace Court, he still gave me another 8 months of waiting. 8 months of waiting to really learn the ropes. So when you are aware of the calling, you must look out for the person that replicates whatever it is that you have been called to do, to become a subject to that person for tutelage. That's the next step. Not starting off, not pouncing on the job.
Because it's just something that's very interesting, that in this generation, you spoke about the fact that people, they, how did you even put it? They set out without, being mentored.
Yes.
As maybe if there is a sponsor somewhere, they get the light, they get a good sound, they get instruments and they get instrumentalists and they start to do work. Maybe God will come and join. What must be on the altar before the fire comes down?
You see, my principle of ministry, or what I have learned over the time in ministry, as the altar of a minister, is a life of complete sacrifice. Because if you understand the sacrifice of ministry, you will know you have to pray. You will know you have to love. You will know you have to study. You will know you have to be taught. The problem we have is that there is a strong opposition to the demands of ministry by our ego. The demands of ministry is such that you will be fully humbled. There's no way you want to do it. And until you become fully humbled, the fullness of God's manifestation will never be experienced. There's no way. The fullness of God's expression. As a matter of fact, the level of God you discover is directly proportional to the level of humility you have embraced. The level of God you discover is directly proportional to the level of humility you have embraced. And so the first thing is a life of complete sacrifice, that you come to a place where you know that you are nothing without God, because self-awareness is one of the drivers of ministry today. Self-awareness. I want to be known. I want to be seen. I want to be there. I want to, that's one of the drivers. The zeal for ministry is driven by self-awareness. You just want self-consciousness. You want, and that does not build any ministry. You must come to a place where you know that I am completely worthless out of God, out of whatever it is He has called me to do. I am completely worthless. When you get to that point, it makes it easy for Him to begin to instruct you on daily basis, step by step. There is no manual to a successful ministry. It's a journey with the Holy Spirit. We can learn, skills, we can borrow wisdom, but when it comes to your individual ministry, your personal convictions and the things God has asked you to do is a walk with the Holy Spirit. So what comes on the altar? A life of absolute sacrifice, that you know that you are nothing without God.
Just like you said, I think because of time,
yes,
we have to find.
But I take responsibility, and I say that anytime you're ready for this, I'll be back.
So let me just ask you one quick question as we round off. You said a person can learn fashion designing, but you can't learn ministry. There's no manual for ministry.
You can learn ministry, but there's no manual for
There's no manual. For because of time, I have just 3 minutes to go. Let me ask you this final question. I will do it as a devil's advocate, because of course I know what the answer is, but let's hear from you. Because of the way people measure success in ministry, the parameters of our generation seems to tilt towards the cosmetic side of ministry: light, sound, crowd, popularity, social media following. How do we measure the success of ministry from the lens of divinity?
Doing what God has asked you to do. It's as simple as that.
Even if it is to pastor two people?
Doing what God has asked you to do. Now, time will not allow me to elaborate. The church ministry is under a mandate to grow. That's the way God did it. The Bible tells us in Acts chapter 2 verse 47, it said, and the Lord added unto them on daily basis. So the mandate of ministry, church ministry specifically, is that it should grow. But every expression of growth is a pass on current levels. You will experience this number of people when you pass your test on this current level. So success in ministry part-time is learning to do exactly what God has asked you to do and embrace the result it gives you. So if it is 2, embrace it.
We'll hold on to that because of time.